Hello, all you wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people. Today is a day I'm gonna give you guys a look into the movies on my Plex server. I think I did that a really long time ago, but this will be the purpose for you guys to vote in the comments what you would like me to react to first. So, some of my limitations will be I'm only gonna react to what I own, which would be what is in my Plex server. Um, so, a caveat with that is since I don't own everything on Blu ray, so some of these are going to be in like 480p when if you choose a movie that I only have on DVD. So, and of course, I've been thinking, and obviously, reaction videos are not a substitute for the movie itself. So, I will be taking, um, I will be editing the videos, obviously, to edit them down. Um, I will be pausing to talk during the reactions. If I find something very specific I would like to point out, and um, I will be editing the video whatever way that will. It might give you guys a harder time to see or it might make it harder for you guys to see what point I'm reacting to, but them are just the measurements you gotta take when you do reaction videos. Like I said, it's not a substitute for watching the movie itself. So yeah, there was one more thing I was going to point out. What was it? Um, yeah, I can't think of it at the moment, but that's okay. So we will hop right into this, and of course, I have Discord going off on me. Okay. Which is odd because normally when I have OBS open, it puts a block on Discord, but whatever. Um, let's move over to my movie list. Um, alright, so I'm going to go through these relatively quick, but I am going to give you enough time to actually see what movies I have. Like I said, I'm probably going to do this in a way. Vote in the comments what you want my first reaction video to be on, and I will go with in the order of most upvotes to least upvotes, and if no recommendations in the comments have any upvotes, then I'll just take first come first serve. So we will see how that goes, and then we will start my reaction journey. Oh. Anyways, let's get to this. We have stuff like Too Fast, Too Furious. I actually have a lot of the Fast and the Furious movies, so I won't point out every single one. But you got a few 90s classics like The Sixth Day, Eight Heads in a Duffel Bag, 10,000 BC. I'm not going to list them all. just gonna point out some notable ones. Um, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Obviously, the date is below each movie, so if there is a remake, then you should be able to tell from the date it was released. Have a few oddball classics like Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, Ace Ventura, both of them. Then I obviously got the recent unboxing I did full of movies. I got some of them into the Plex server, so pretty neat. Adventures of Milo and Otis is one of my childhood movies, though I don't know how that would be watching it now. Same with Airbud, though I remember Airbud a little bit more than Milo and Otis. Got two Aladdin films. Have not got Return of Jafar. Honestly, I only really remember the first Aladdin film really well. We do have Alien. That's a popular movie, and that is actually one I have not seen. Never watched the Alien movie. Alien versus Predator. I will point out that I do know that this is um, a DVD or a 480p version. This is not a Blu-ray. um, oh yeah, the one thing I did want to say, when it comes to movies, I was not necessarily under a rock growing up. So, when it comes to this, I can't for sure say that I'm going to be reacting blind. I'm not going to pretend like I haven't seen a movie if I already seen the movie. And I'm not going to be like, well, it's going to be like it's blind because I don't remember the movie. Sure, in some cases that might be the case, but I have a pretty decent memory of movies I've seen. So, in which case, a lot of these are probably going to be rewatches, but there's also a lot I haven't seen from this list. This is a way for me to share my media with you guys and help me um, just be able to actually find ways to enjoy the media I own. But yeah, I do have all the Divergent movies, so I won't be pointing out the rest of them. Almost Heroes is a great comedy. Have a few dramas like Armageddon and As Good as It Gets. Uh, Austin Powers movies. Of course, you got more Marvel stuff, which I actually have not seen a lot of the Marvel stuff. I've been trying to get all the movies because I know I eventually want to get a lot of the movies because I know the earlier Marvel movies are more standalone stuff, but later Marvel movies kind of pick up a more overarching story, and I really would like to watch them together if I have them. So that's why I haven't seen a lot of the Marvel movies. Babe, oh gosh, another childhood. Beethoven, roll over Beethoven. Big Trouble is a underrated comedy, I would say. Also, I don't think a lot of people talk about The Big Bounce either. Bill and Ted. Got the Blade movies, along with Blazing Saddles, of course. I even have like a horror movie kick where I have like Bones. Boondock Saints. Boondock Saints, sorry. Even have the Brave Little Toaster. You'll notice some of these have little check marks beside them. That means I've at some point played them in the Plex server, but can't say. Sometimes some of them were more testing to make sure the movie captured right and stuff. Not captured, but ripped right, I guess. Casper. The Cell. That's probably a movie I have not watched since I. A lot of these movies I have not watched since I owned them on DVD. What I'm trying to say is, a lot of these movies I had at one point on DVD back when I had a big DVD collection. Um, Early 2000s, pretty much. So a lot of these movies I haven't watched since then, and The Cell's one of them. Chili Dogs is kind of a ridiculous comedy. It also goes under a different name in other regions, like I think it's called uh, Dave of the North or something like that. I don't really remember the other name for that movie, but it has Leslie Nielsen in it. Then we have the Riddick movies. I have them all in a little collection, but they're all separately in here too. Have one of the first Broken Lizards movies, Club Dread. That's the same studio that made the Super Trooper movies. Con Air. Even have a little bit of Corpse Bride, more some Tim Burton films. Cradle to the Grave, one of the few movies DMX was in. Then we have probably one of the worst, I say one of, but it's definitely one of the more lower tier Puppet Master movies. Cursed. I remember enjoying the movie Cursed. I heard it went through some kind of like uh, development hell um, when trying to get this movie made, but I thought it turned out alright. I remember enjoying it. Have a few of the early Marvel movies, like Daredevil. Darkness Falls. That is a horror detective movie. Can't remember much from it, but doesn't it star Forrest Whitaker or something like that? Dawn of the Dead. I'm gonna be honest, I've seen so many zombie films, I can't really remember the bits and pieces that are from this film. Deadpool is one of my favorite comic book heroes, so obviously I have his movies. Don't have Deadpool Wolverine yet, but that's only just I haven't got it. Death Race 1 and 2. Detroit Rock City. Got Doom. Another great comedy, Down Periscope. Which, this is another film that was only on released on DVD. Excuse me. Throat was drying up a bit. Have a few old school Dracula movies. Dracula's Daughter. Dragonheart. Eight-Legged Freaks. Electra, another. From what I hear, I did see this movie when it came out. I didn't remember it necessarily being bad. I just didn't remember it being anything memorable, which I don't really remember anything from it. But people say it's a pretty bad superhero film for Electra, so. End of Days. Evolution. That was a fun alien film. Faculty. That was a fun alien film as well, but it's a more of a horror film. Fantastic Beast. And you got a lot of the. I think I have all, not all, but I have the Fast and Furious movies up to the 8th film and the spin-off. Final Destination. I want to actually change that poster because I don't want that to be the poster. I want the old school poster. I definitely enjoyed the first film better than the second film. And the third film was fun, just it wasn't as good as the first two. Though I don't have the third film, so I guess that's irrelevant to even talk about. Flight of the Navigator, some like old school Disney movies. Fly Away Home. That is another kind of childhood movie I had. Um, Pretty much, this was a movie I watched a lot. Um, there was like a handful of movies that my grandmother owned growing up for to entertain like us kids when we were over. And yeah, this was one of the movies that was at my grandmother's and just watched it a lot of times. Along with a few others, but I don't think I own anything else. Freaky is kinda freaky. I won't say any more, any less for that. Then we got all the Friday the 13th movies. Basically from my box set over there on the shelf. Same with Freddy vs. Jason. The Frighteners. Dusk Till Dawn. 1, 2, and 3. Have a few animated movies. Even at the top, I had like Akira, but Ghost in the Shell, the one from 1995. Even have the live action remake, which I I know it says. I think I tried to watch this, but I think I fell asleep during it, so I don't think I actually seen the Ghost in the Shell movie. Ghost Rider. I have a few horrors like Ghost Ship, Ginger Snaps. This one is memorable for me because I remember watching this on um, a cable TV channel like HBO or something like that. Some kind of movie channel we had. A Goofy movie. Another kind of childhood favorite that I watched a bunch of times. Gone in 60 Seconds was pretty good, or at least I remember it being pretty good. Got the Green Mile. I do have Grind, which I don't think the movie was. Um, it was more funny when I was a teenager. Um, haven't watched it since I was a teenager, but I have watched reactions to this movie or reviews, and yeah, I'm not sure if the comedy held up that well in that movie. Yeah, this is gonna go on to be a relatively long video, but hopefully you guys see something that you see that catches your eye that you would like to see me react to. The Homeward Bound movies, that's some old school Disney as well. Holes. Holes was actually a pretty good Disney film. I do kind of this I know is the DVD version. I do wish I had it on Blu-ray, but a lot of them Disney Blu-ray movies are held hostage on the Disney Movie Club, and then they go for ridiculous prices on eBay. I may pick up a few here and there at some point, but they're just super expensive right now, and just they're probably never going to go down, so there's probably a lot of these kind of films that I won't have on Blu-ray due to that. Though, we'll see. Maybe one day I'll get the urge to just buy a few of them. Horrible Bosses 1 and 2. House on Haunted Hill, the remake. I remember liking that movie, so. How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World. That's like the only How to Train Your Dragon movie I own. Basically, it came from the box that I opened a few videos ago. Have all the Hunger Game. Well, I say all, but yeah, I think I have all the Hunger Game movies because there was only four of them, right? Unless they made one for the new book that came out, I don't really remember. Because they released a new book in the series relatively lately. Idiocracy. That's a dumb movie in all the best ways. Instinct. I don't remember anything from this movie other than I remember when I watched it, it seemed like an interesting movie, and I remember thinking it was good, but at the time, I was just a teenager, so I don't know. It was like a movie one of my parents rented or something, and I ended up watching it. There's Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X. Um, Out of all the Friday the 13th movies, I really do enjoy Jason X. It was I found it so much fun when watching it. Um, I know it's not a great movie, definitely. It's not gonna win any kind of awards, but it was fun. Oh, okay. I forgot I had them, but I apparently have some Jeff Dunham stand-ups DVDs. Jumanji, the old one and the new one. The Jungle Book remake. Keanu. Um, I remember not liking this film as much. Like, I don't know. I just didn't find it that funny when I watched it. It's one of the more recent movies that I've watched. A Knight's Tale. I remember The Lady Killers being pretty funny. I probably have a ton of comedies. Land of the Dead. Only thing I remember about this movie is Luigi stars in it. Or sorry, I should be more accurate with that. The actor that played Luigi in the Super Mario Brothers movie live action film was a main actor in this movie. Have the Lego movie and the second part. Lensman, or also known as The Secret of the Lensman. Um, so this is one of them films that if it was released here in America, it was either on VHS only, but I don't even know if they got that because I just have a hard time finding a physical copy of this movie, this anime movie. Um, this is a special movie to me, much like Vampire Hunter D. Um, there was a there was a movie block on the Sci-Fi Channel growing up in the 90s where they would show a couple anime movies back to back. I had a recorded VHS tape. Like, I don't know who recorded it, but it somehow got in my hands and I ended up watching it. It was a specific night on the Sci Fi Channel that was recorded where they recorded Vampire Hunter D, and then after that, The Secret of the Lensman came on. So this movie is kind of dear to me, and I don't know if a lot of people seen it. Um, it's actually uploaded on YouTube for free if you ever want to watch it. So it's definitely under the radar kind of thing. So yeah, there's my 5 minutes of talking, gushing over that movie. Little Shop of Horrors. Say what you want. Maybe you don't enjoy musicals, but there is some bangers in this movie. I realize I have a lot of comedy movies. And a lot of random stuff too, like a lot like love. So I do have the occasional like romance comedy kind of thing. Marley and Me, Matchstick Men, Maze Runner trilogy, the Meet the Parents trilogy, Men in Black trilogy, The Mighty. This also has a little bit of a story to it for me, but I will not go into that because the video is going to be long enough already. I'm sure there are several movies in here that I could probably gush over. Not to say that I would gush over this one, but have the Mummy series. That was a pretty great action flick. Mystery Men. Along with that, my super ex-girlfriend. National Security. Um, I definitely do probably have a lot of them kind of one and done kind of comedies. And this definitely falls into that category of being like a one and done kind of comedy movie where you just put it on for a popcorn flick. And that's all it ever was meant to be. National Treasure 1 and 2. The Net. Um, this was an interesting watch because it definitely gave you a kind of perspective of what people kind of saw the internet turning into and such. Like, it obviously did not go the way that they pictured in this film, but this was an interesting watch in the fact that the internet was. I'm not sure if it was public by then or not when this movie came out, but it was it was interesting to see like a really early perspective of what the internet could be. It's not a documentary; it's an actual movie, but there's just elements of that in this, and it was pretty cool. The Net 2.0. I think I tried to watch it once. I don't think I watched it all the way through. The other DMX movie, Never Die Alone. The sorry, the Oceans trilogy. Um, Not the old film though. The new Oceans 11. Jet Li, the one. Probably, I have like two Jet Li movies, and both of them I enjoy a lot. Panic Room. This is an awesome movie. I really do want to pick up the. They came out finally with the 4K version of this movie. Ugh, I'm talking too much. They came out with the 4K version of this movie. I should have bought it when I saw it because this movie, that 4K version of the movie went out of print real fast, like within a couple months. Now it's trying to be sold for like $100 on eBay, and no. I will stick to my lone DVD version, which that is one of the very, very, very few movies that I have from my original DVD collection in the early 2000s. This was a great movie. And there I go gushing again. People Under the Stairs. The Perfect Score. The Ocean's 11 that you never thought you needed. I actually really enjoy that movie, so I'm not making fun of it or anything. That's just basically what the movie is. It is an Ocean 11 type film, but in high school. Um, Pirates of the Caribbean, which I never really got into, so I might have seen the first film. Planet Hulk is pretty awesome. Never seen any of the Grindhouse movies either, but I do have Planet Terror. Predator and Predator 2. I will say, if you guys read, dang, why do them pop-ups need to happen? Okay, so I will say, if you guys do um, vote on me watching a sequel, I will probably watch the first film in the movie series first, just to keep things in a serialized manner. I, of course, have all the Puppet Master movies. Well, I say all, but there is a couple new ones I don't have, but of the original, I like have Puppet Master to through the Axis trilogy. Have all the Rambo movies, and I never seen a single one of them. It just felt like a collection I bought one day, and yeah, haven't watched any of them yet. Real Steel, the Resident Evil movies, along with Vendetta, which was an animated Resident Evil movie. Am I gonna make it through this? Retro Puppet Master, Road Trip. I do have a lot of them kind of raunchy comedies as well, I think. Few Rugrats movies. The Rundown, which was the big action movie that pretty much put The Rock on the map for movies, I think. Like he was in Doom, but then this was a movie that really brought him up, I think. I have Rush Hour 1 and 2, missing 3. Them also, I think, are DVDs as well. Scorched. That was a pretty awesome. I don't want to call it indie film, but it's definitely a more lower budget film. But it was pretty good. It's a pretty good comedy. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. That was a pretty hype movie when it came out. Like, it was definitely one that I was like, I gotta go see this in theaters. Like, it was at a time where if any kind of media was adding in uh video, like adding a very video gamey into the story, I was gonna digest that. The Scream movies, 1 through 3. Haven't seen anything past 3. though I don't really own anything past 3, so it's a little irrelevant to say. Secondhand Lines, See No Evil, The Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Nights, a little bit of Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson, Short Circuit movies. Um, 2 will always be better than the first one to me. In all honesty, I think I find the first one a little bit boring, but I definitely enjoyed Short Circuit 2. Shrek, Silent Hill, The Skulls. I remember that being a good movie, and that's like an early Paul Walker movie, I think. Or I think Paul Walker's in it. Small Soldiers. I have not seen that movie in forever. Smokey and the Bandit. Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I have seen both of these films. I just didn't watch the second film on my Plex server. Spaceballs the movie. Though low key, I kind of love Spaceballs, so it's one of my favorite movies of all time. And I know that might be a little bit weak of a pick out of like all the great movies out there. How am I ranking this as one of my top movies of all time? Um, I always find it funny, no matter what. Alright, then we got Species 1 and 2. I like to get 3 and 4, but again, the Blu-ray's kind of been pricey for that one, so I kind of just avoided buying it. A lot of Star Trek movies. New Star Trek, then older Star Trek movies, but not like the really old ones. I have a lot of Star Wars. First and foremost, I have the Star Wars, well, obviously episode 1, 2, 3, where's 4? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. But I also have these 4K versions of the original trilogy, which these versions are the original versions of the film in 4K. So these are the despecialized versions of the movies. I mean, since they won't release them on they won't really release the original versions on media, the fans have to take it into their own hands to basically basically scale up the original movies. Alright, I am going to should have did that earlier, but okay. Stealing Harvard. Again, I already talked about that movie when in my pickup video that I opened a couple of videos ago. Suicide Kings. That's a underrated film that you probably never haven't heard of. Have Super Troopers 2. Don't have the first one. 13 Ghost. timeline. Tom and Huck. I remember that being a good like adventure Disney movie back when Jonathan Taylor Thomas was like the whole um, he was all like the pretty boy girls would um fall for as far as like celebrity crushes in the early 90s. Torque, the a fast basically a rip off of the Fast and the Furious movie. Trimmers 1 through 4. Um I actually like the Trimmers movie. They are very fun watches. At least the first 3 anyways. Tron and Tron Legacy. I believe so. Grown up, I was not into the Tron movie that much. Um, but when I started getting into the anime, like Dot Hack and stuff, that's when I really revisited the movie and just. It was really interesting to see the kind of perspectives it was having during the time when it released, which was the early 1980s. So it's kind of a cool movie to go back and look back on in that aspect. Tron Legacy I went and saw in theaters. It was okay, I guess. Not really that memorable. I have the Twilight movies. Never seen any of them. I imagine one day I'm gonna be made to watch through them, but we will see when that one day arrives. Have the Underworld series, the other Jet Li film that I enjoy, Unleashed, Vampire Hunter D, and its sequel, Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, Volcano. Um, this movie came out at a time when kind of disaster movie films were the thing that was going on in the film industry. So you had like Volcano, and then you had stuff like The Core. There was other disaster movies too, like I want to say there was one where people were trapped in like a avalanche or something like that too. Can't really remember. We're back, a dinosaur story. What lies beneath. I do love a good ghost story. Also have What Dreams May Come. Also, I didn't really point out any of the anime films I have much, but I know I do have a lot of Studio Ghibli films and stuff, and also like Wolf Children here. A lot of X-Men films, which if you do recommend them, I would watch them in order. I think I've seen I don't think I've seen Days of Future Past, but I've seen Up to First Class, I believe. Triple X. That was an interesting film. what I remember most from that film is like there was a alternate ending where the Vin Diesel died. So yeah. uh, Your Name. I've heard that was a good movie. And Zombieland. And with that, that is the full list of movies I have. I do have an entire separate list of like TV shows and stuff, even music. But for the time being, I will expand into that eventually. But let's try to get me a few movie reactions under my belt before I dive into a different kind of media that I own. So yeah, um, I know this might be the video that you guys did not want to watch all the way through, but I hope you enjoyed the video and this look. And if something catches your eye, vote below. Like I said, um, upvote any comments of movies that were already nominated or recommended to do, and I'll go on down the list from most upvoted to least upvoted. And if there's no upvotes, it will be a first come, first serve kind of base. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.